Hey everybody, welcome back to Automatic for the Collector, and I'm coming to you in this video with another video response. This one here is for Dan at Old Sarge Collects, and as many of you are probably already aware, I'm sure most of you that watch my videos or subscribe to Old Sarge Collects, but he has a video response going because he's reached 300 subscribers and already surpassed 300. And anyways, to celebrate that, he's sponsoring another video response. So in this video response, the subject of it is to talk about your two favorite Major League Baseball teams. And I know you can probably already guess what one of them is by the hat I'm wearing. We're going to talk about that team, and I'm going to tell you about my second favorite team, which I'm sure you may not know what that team is until we get to it. But anyways, I'm going to reconfigure things a little bit so I can show the cards and the items a little bit better and make sure they're in the camera frame. And we'll look at some cool stuff, so hang tight. Okay guys, I'm back with you now, and before I get to showing just a few cards that represent my favorite teams, I wanted to show you, in addition to the hat I was wearing that you just saw a minute ago, I've got two other Braves hats that I think are really cool, and I thought this might just be a good opportunity to show those. These are some that I picked up many years ago, and these were kind of, I guess, limited edition hats, fitted hats, made by, at that time it was the 47 brand, 47 Twins is what the brand was, but this has got the Atlanta logo there, and it's kind of got a neat fabric that's kind of poofed out a little bit. But what's really cool, this fitted hat on the back, it says Braves 1966, which that was the first year they started playing in Atlanta. So this hat's really cool, and I'm sure glad I found it when I did back years ago, because I don't think you can find these hats very easily anymore. I know for sure they don't continue to make them. And then the next one that's kind of a unique hat is this one. Again, it's kind of got a tattered, worn look to it. It's also a fitted hat. It's got the Braves logo on the back. But on the side of the hat, it's got this established 66, which I think is kind of neat. So two Braves hats that kind of commemorate the year that they started playing in Atlanta. So anyways, that's the hats I wanted to show you. And now we'll get to some cards. Now, what Dan asked us to do was to show some favorite cards that represented the favorite teams that we had. I picked out some cards that I do like, and I would say they're favorites, but I have so many favorites, they might not be necessarily my number one favorite card. And a few of them that I know are my favorites, I'm actually saving for a future video where I'm going to possibly do a showcase video. But nonetheless, I did pick out some favorites, and this one here is one of my favorite cards. And you may ask yourself, well, it's the Braves, but this is a player from when they were in Milwaukee. But the reason I chose this, and here's the story portion of the video, is this is Ernie Johnson. He was a pitcher for the Milwaukee Braves. And The reason I chose this was when I grew up and watched and listened to the Braves games on TBS, Ernie Johnson was one of their announcers. And out of all the great announcers that the Braves had, there was something about Ernie Johnson that I just really liked. I think he was, by that time, he was, pretty old. And I think I just liked his voice. He sounded like just a nice old man. And there was something that just kind of drew me to him as far as being my favorite announcer. And his playing days as a baseball player was way, way before my time. So I can't vouch for his baseball playing days, but I do have several neat items of his in my collection. And I hope I mentioned it in a previous video, but one of these days I am going to do a kind of a small Ernie Johnson showcase video to show the items I do have related to him. But anyways, this is the 1954 Johnston cookies. And I got this card several years ago. As you can see, the back there. Really cool. But anyways, to go along with that Johnston cookies, since I had these together, I went ahead and pulled out another one that I got at the same time as the Ernie Johnson. And it's kind of funny. This one I bought, like I said, at the same time as the Ernie Johnson. And it just so happened this guy also has the last name Johnson. And if you know me at all, you know my last name is Johnson, Eric Johnson. So we got a Johnson trio here tonight. Ernie, Ben, and Eric. But I don't know anything about Ben Johnson, but I love these Johnston cookies cards here. And really quickly, I'll put them side by side. You'll notice they're both PSA graded 5, and they're sequential in their serial numbers. So whoever had these graded sent them in together and had it done. But I think these are really cool, and so I wanted to feature those. Now I'm going to show just a couple more cards of some Braves players. I thought I would throw one player from when I do remember watching the Braves play when I was younger, and that's the great Chipper Jones. And as I was going through cards to select for this video, I ran through this one, or ran across it, and I thought this was just a really cool one. It's an insert card. And it's kind of made out of metallic material, some sort of metal. Diamond Dominators. And this was a Fleer card. And Fleer made some really, really cool things back in those days. But you know how sometimes you have cards in your collection and you don't see them all the time, and you kind of forget about having them. And as soon as I saw this one, I definitely remembered having it. As I go through boxes, I come across things from time to time, and so I'm aware of owning them, but you don't see them all the time, and it's a little bit of a surprise. It's like, oh yeah, I have that. So anyways, I just thought it would be nice to show something a little different. A lot of the channels, and it's no knock on any channels, but you know, you kind of tend to see the same old cards over and over with all the people showing vintage cards. And like we always joke, I mean, how many times do you need to see the 1952 Mickey Mantle card? I'm sick of looking at mine. I shouldn't say I'm sick of looking at it. I mean, I love looking at my 52 mantle, but you know, you like to see some other things sometimes. And that's a joke. I don't own a 52 mantle. This card here, I just picked up last weekend. I got just a few beat up cards from a gentleman in town, and they were pretty much common cards, but and in pretty rough condition. But I just picked out just a few, and this one was in it. I'd never really seen this card before. Bob Tillman, a catcher for the Braves, 1970 tops. But I like this era and their uniforms. Their uniforms back in this era of the Braves were pretty cool, and it kind of reminds me of this hat that I showed you. That's what I'm talking about right there. And one thing I noticed before I kind of pulled this this card for the video, I know it's not anything super special, but it's a cool looking card. But if you look really closely, there's some weird character hanging out in the dugout behind him. And I can't tell if it's an old man or an old woman. But that kind of caught my attention, and it's not really obvious until you give a good close look at the card, but I thought I would point that out as just some character hanging out there. It could have been somebody that wandered in from the stands, like a drunk guy or something, and he's like, "Oh, I need to sit down. I'm about to get sick. I drank too much." And then Bob Tillman said, "Yeah, have a seat there and take a load off. I'm about to go out and get behind the plate and catch some baseballs." But anyways, there you go. Okay, now we're going to move on, and I better hurry. We're going to move on to the second portion of the video where I talk about my second favorite team. And that would be the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, before making the video, when I was giving some thought to what I was going to do for the video, I honestly wasn't even sure what my second favorite team was, because I had never considered it before, really, before the video response. And I always knew the Braves was my favorite team, but I never even had thought about, a second favorite team. And so I did a lot of thinking about this before this. I know some of you may not think it, but I do put a lot of thought into my videos, even though they're not fancy and they're not edited, and the lighting might not be the greatest, and I don't make them look super awesome. If there's one thing I think that's a redeeming factor, it would be that I do give a little bit of thought to what I do and how it ties in. But the reason I chose the St. Louis Cardinals is I remember growing up being at my great aunt and great uncle's house. I stayed with them a lot. And I'm going to show some cards while I talk. Anyways, I stayed with them a lot, and my great uncle, his name was Duval. He was, of course, a Braves fan as well, and he would sit in his den. And when I was really young, he would sit in his den and smoke a pipe. And he would always be watching sports. And if it was baseball season, he was watching the Braves. But I remember one time, vaguely, it's a kind of a vague memory, but I remember him saying that he also liked the Cardinals. And being that now I live closer to Cardinals territory in the region I live in, I thought, yeah, the Cardinals is a team that I would pick as my second favorite. And as you know, my favorite player of all time, Will Clark, played for the Cardinals his very last season. But anyways, I chose this card because Stan Musial is the iconic Cardinals player. And this is a E-Tops card, the size of a tobacco card here. And this one's numbered 749 out of 749, which is really cool. But I like the shine on this. It's just a really cool card. Here's one more Stan Musial I pulled out that I think looks really cool, this Allen and Ginter. It's just a really cool image right there. These Allen and Ginter cards look amazing sometimes. Really often they look amazing. Now, while we're on the subject of Stan Musial, I pulled out two really cool pieces I have. This is something I got years ago, Top Sterling. This one's graded a Gem Mint 10, and as you can see, it's numbered 109 out of 250. I got this so long ago, and these cases that PSA put them in, they just look like monstrosities now. They're really big. I don't know now if they were to get graded, if they would put them in something so large. And then to go along with a previous card, I pulled this out. It's a Bat Relic card from Panini. National Treasures, and this one is numbered 5 out of 99. I'm sorry, it's not 5, it's 85 out of 99. So I thought those were really cool things to show. And then last but not least, when I got the Bob Tillman card last weekend, I also got this one, a 1970 Topps Mike Shannon. This one's a little rough. It's got a crease in it, and the corners are a little rough. But I really think the picture of Mike Shannon is cool on this. So I thought I would throw that in there to show. I know Mike Shannon was really popular with the St. Louis crowd. But anyways, going back to what I was talking about with my great uncle Duval, I have very fond memories. You know, I was closer to my great aunt, and I didn't probably get to know my Uncle Duval as closely as I should have. But I do remember him always sitting in his own den and watching baseball, and if it was football or basketball season, he usually had one of those games on. But he would sit in there and smoke his pipe. He eventually gave up smoking, but it always had that cool cherry tobacco smell. And anyways, he loved the Braves, and I'm pretty sure he really liked the St. Louis Cardinals as well, if he wasn't rooting for the Braves. And one other thing I wanted to mention is, this is going to sound odd, but I don't particularly feel right liking American League teams. So I was debating whether, like, should I say the Kansas City Royals are my second? But, you know, of course I like the iconic players, but I didn't grow up watching them. I never had a chance to see the American League teams, so that kind of disqualified every American League team right off the bat. But I'm running out of time, guys. So anyways, I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, y'all take care and hope you enjoyed these cards. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.